for more?
Hello, and yes, we are back for more. Seventh guest. We left off in the last video, and I'm going to fix that the next time I save it. I'm going to get rid of the F because, yeah, there's not two Fs. I don't know why I did that. But we left off here at the beginning of the house, and I remember showing you the movements of the hands and everything, and giving you kind of a little bit of a introduction with the map and everything. But before we continue, I just want to give you a little bit of a background kind of on the seventh guest. Excuse me, choking on air here. So you kind of have more of an understanding. Just a minor note, something that you might find interesting. In the last video, when we ended off our game where there was the voice that says your game has been saved, and she actually, her voice, that's the voice of the person that you will hear a lot in the sequel to this game, the 11th Hour. She has her voice has a bigger role in that game, but I never really realized, I guess, that her voice was also the game has been saved voice for this game, which I didn't notice until the last video when I was listening to it. So I thought that was interesting. But in the video that we saw in the last video with the people arriving in here and the ghosts arriving to this house, I just thought I would give you some information so you knew who they were. Martine Burden is a former singer. Edward and Eleanor Knox was the couple that you saw. They were an older, dissatisfied couple. There was also Julia Hine, who was a bank worker. Brian Dutton, who was a fellow shop owner. And Hamilton Temple, the stage musician. Basically those are the characters that you're going to see throughout some of the ghostly videos in this game. So I just thought I would give you an idea of who they were so you kind of had some understanding. I mean, you can kind of figure it out as the game moves forwards, but I just thought it would be nice to give you kind of a background. Also, this takes place in 1935 in the town of Harley on the Hudson, which I think is an interesting name for the town. The only other piece of info that I will give you for now, I'll give you some more later, is that the music that you're going to be hearing throughout this game, which is kind of interesting, is titled simply The Game. That is the title of the music. It takes on various melodies and forms throughout the game, but it's basically the same piece of music, just made a little bit different depending on a puzzle that you're playing, or a room that you're in, or a situation that is occurring with the ghost. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. You'll also hear Skeletons in My Closet, which is the other piece of music in this game, but that's not going to play until the rolling credits. So, but those are the two basic songs that play throughout this game. So without further ado, let's continue to the first room. Now I'm going to start with this room simply because with that room over here, and I can't remember if I explained this in the last video, but I would like to take you to this room, but there's a lot of stuff I need to explain in there. So I want to take you to this room just so you can kind of get an idea of the game's starting. So without further ado, here we go. Ah, the dining room. Interesting. Interesting decor, I must say. I mean, as much as the graphics were amazing for the time, you know, as far as 3D graphics are concerned. It's still rather interesting decor choices and amazing movements.
I guess our host wants us to fend for ourselves.
Oh, I've tasted better fare.
At least he left his regrets.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
I don't know.
Oh, it says that we're each to have a piece. Exactly the same, including the symbols.
Why, that's impossible.
That was a little interesting. My video wigged out in the middle of the clip. Well, in case you're wondering what she said to the guy, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Yours was kind of cut out for some reason. Sorry about that. Interesting note of fact as well is they had originally talked about doing this game. They had planned to do it entirely in a real house, like a real-time video that they would have taken of the entire house for when you walk through, all the walking between rooms and everything. But early in development, when somebody who joined them in creating the game showed introduced 3D graphics and animation, and they decided that that was going to be a much more feasible and inexpensive way to create this game. So now if you note here, there is a brain, so yes, that denotes a puzzle that we're going to be playing, but also there's some chattering teeth here, and I just want you to kind of get an idea of what's going on before we play this puzzle. So here we go. Ooh. The only thing I don't like about playing this game now is that the chattering teeth little clips are sped up much more than they were than they played out in the original game. So I'm like, well, this is the original game, but if I were playing this way back, like when it first came out, that would have played much slower than it had, but you still kind of get an idea of what it does. So without further ado, let's click on this brain and see what happens.
Ah, become a grave digger now, have we? You are a glutton for punishment.
Now, if you haven't guessed, if you're listening to that clip, the lady said that we're each to have a piece exactly the same, including the wow, this is really sad. Did she say stones? No, what did she say? Including the something, including the icing. I forget exactly what she said, but anyways, it doesn't mean that everybody gets the same, like a square piece of cake, but it just means that everybody has the same number of decorations on their piece of cake. So they don't all have to be the same shape, as long as now they have the same things on them. So let's see if we can't figure this out. There is 1, 2, 3, 6 pieces of icing. So clearly everybody gets one piece of icing. But it looks to be like there are 3, 6, 9, yeah, 12 skulls and 3, 6, 8, 10, 12 stones. So if that's correct, then everybody gets 2 skulls, 2 stones, and a piece of icing. Now there are many ways to solve this puzzle, actually. Because it's the beginning of the game and it starts out as one of the first puzzles, they made it's been created so that there are multiple solutions to this puzzle, which is kind of nice for beginning the game, for beginners who might have trouble with it. Let's see if we can't figure this out. Oh, right here we've got 2 skulls, 2 stones, and a piece of icing. Let's try that and see what happens.
2 skulls and 2 stones. The rest is just icing.
Oh. I forgot that the puzzle tells you that too.
Puzzling.
I totally forgot about that.
Some cannot be created more equal than others.
Isn't that funny? I knew he talked, but I couldn't remember. I forgot that he said 2 skulls, 2 stones, the rest is just icing. I forgot about that. Now, interesting other tidbit, fact, whatever you want to call it. That you might be interested to note is when you're getting closer, Stoff likes to haunt you and yell at you, so don't be surprised to hear him talking throughout your working on a puzzle. I think I screwed this up because there's only 1 skull here, but I thought I did. What just happened? Oh, thought I was clicking the brain, but I had moved my mouse off the screen, so it clicked off of the game. Sorry about that. Alright, let's try this again.
I'm going to have to start again.
There we go. Good example of what happens when you make a mistake and you have to start over. Well,
2 skulls and 2 stones. The rest is just icing.
I do know that this is possible.
Some cannot be created more equal than others.
But instead of doing this one, I'm going to do this one. And this one, yeah, there we go. I just wasn't thinking and I went with what was right there and I forgot to look. As I was explaining that it's important to note where everything is, I didn't follow my own advice. Wow, that's a nice start to this LP. Alright, so now we can do this one. There we go. As long as you make sure that there's a piece of icing available to every piece of skull and crossbone that you might need. There we go. Oh yeah, now we've got this in the bag pretty much. Surprised Stoff hasn't said anything yet. Usually he does. Maybe he will, I don't know. No? Wow, he does so in other ones.
There.
Well, I don't know.
Don't worry. I won't bite. Edward, we could help each other out. I could help you, and you could help me. Come and talk in my bedroom upstairs, where it's nice and private.
Yes, this game is very creepy like that. Excuse me, choking on air. No, we don't need to see that again. It's gonna get much creepier as we go along too, so just warning you, if you're not into sick, twisted humor or whatever you want to call it, might not be the game for you. Now, I already played that video again, so I don't know why the ghostly mask is still there, but